Hi all, and today let's talk about some concepts in physics. First, we talk about force. Have you ever kicked a football to move it? Or have you ever pushed a table or pulled a table with your hand to move it? And generally we open the door by pushing with our hand or pulling with our hand. So in all these cases, what we do is we push or pull an object. Okay, we push or pull or kick. Kicking a football is a kind of pushing it. Okay, so to move an object, you are applying a push or pull on it. Okay, that means if you want to move that, you are pushing or pulling an object. Okay, so in physics terms, we can term this application of pushing or pulling as a quantity called force. Okay, so as you can observe from these examples which we discussed right now, what we are trying is we are trying to move an object by pushing or pulling it. Okay, so that means we are applying a force to move the object. Okay, so force is primarily used in physics to make an object move. Okay, so how does this object will be moving when we apply force? Okay, so the movement of any object whenever we apply a force depends on different quantities of the object. Okay, so a force simply we will define as a push or pull on an object. So we have discussed that a force is used to make an object move. So is that true in all cases? It might not be true. As we have discussed, the movement of any object under when we push or pull depends on different characteristics of the object. Okay, so when you are trying to pull a small table in your room, you can move it with your two hands, but if you are trying to push a wall with your two hands, you can barely move it, or you cannot simply move it. Okay, I suggest you to try this experiment or activity by first pulling or pushing a small object which is lying in your room with your two hands, and pulling or pushing a very big object like this, something of a wall in your room, or if you can go further, you can take a big car or something and try to push or pull it. Okay, you might barely move that heavier object. I mean heavier in the sense the bigger object. Okay, so the bigger objects don't move easily. Okay, so this is due to the fact of a characteristic of the objects called mass. Okay, so the heavier or the bigger the object, the larger the mass of the object. It might not be in the case of some exceptional conditions of some objects like which are very light in weight. So we can measure the mass of the object by measuring the weight of the object. Okay, so whatever we measure with the weighing machines is the weight of the object, and that is due to the gravitation. Okay, gravity. So we don't go into details about those gravity and all. So for now we just come to a conclusion that a force is a push or pull on any object which may or may not move it. Okay, and from qualitative point of view, you can see that bigger objects doesn't move that easily as the smaller objects when you apply or when you push with the same amount of effort. So when you are putting an effort to push or pull one object, means you are applying a force on that object to move that. So bigger objects and smaller objects do not move in the same fashion when you apply the same amount of force with the two hands, or you try to push or pull them with the same effort. Okay, so that is qualitatively we have discussed about force. But in physics you generally have forces of two kinds. Okay, so there are different classifications of forces. Okay, so the primary classification that we are going to discuss is how does the force act. Okay, so classification based on how forces act on object. So one is forces due to interaction. Interaction when the you can say when the force application is in contact with the object. Okay, so and what you can simply if we put what you can make it of is forces acting on an object by any contact agent. Okay, when the agent which is applying the force on the object, or when I'm trying to push or pull the object by holding or by touching the object, means that I'm applying a force by coming in contact with the object. Forces application by coming into contact. Okay. Two. There is another kind of force in nature which doesn't need any contact with the object to make it move. Okay, so for example, when I leave this object to fall, or when I leave it freely here, it simply falls down. Okay, anything, this object, or whenever you leave this, it falls freely. You are not doing anything, you are just leaving it free. Okay, so what happens in this case is, this object is being dragged down, or it's being pulled down by the earth's surface. So this is the same condition or same case where we have discussed the pushing or pulling of an object with our hands by touching it. But here the pen is being pulled down by the earth without coming into contact. Okay, the earth is not touching it, earth is not pulling it with its hands down. It's simply there. Earth is at a distance and is at a distance from the earth, but still it is being pulled down by the earth. Okay, and similarly, when you have when you have a magnet and an iron piece, what you can observe is, when you put a magnet here, let's say this is a magnet, and when you put an iron nail here, there is no contact between them, such that, okay, but still this iron nail comes and attaches with this magnet, or it just comes and sticks with the magnet. Let's say this is a magnet and this is a nail. If we place like this, then freely to move, then the nail will be pulled by the magnet towards the magnet. Okay, or sometimes it may repel also. So it is different depending on the polarity of the magnet and all those stuff. So we don't go into details about that. But the primary idea is, the magnet is pulling the object without coming into contact. Okay. So what we have talked is, we have talked the gravity effect, the magnetic force, and in a similar case, it is not so much practical, I can say, but there is this electric force in something like the magnetic force, where a charge will be attracting another charge of negative polarity. So we have charges divided into two types, and one is positive and one is negative, and one attracts the other. So this also happens without coming into contact with each other. Okay, so there are different kinds of examples. So this is a kind of force. Okay, in this situation, in these all conditions, the force is due to action at a distance, or the object is at a distance without coming into contact. Forces without contact and due to action at a distance. source, you can say. So these are primarily the two classifications of forces in nature. Okay. So as you study higher classes, you will get into details of different kinds of forces that we discuss in physics. Okay. Primary idea is behind a force is a push or pull on any object that makes or may not make it to move. Okay. And it can be of two different types. One is when the force applying body or force is applied is by the coming into contact with the object, and the second case the force is applied without coming into contact with the object. So these are the two cases where force generally acts in nature. Thank you.